Good afternoon and welcome to Pre-Calc. We are going to look at rational expressions. Objective 1, remember to find the restricted values of the variable you set the denominator equal to 0 and solve. So for t over t squared minus 16, you set the denominator t squared minus 16 equal to 0. Now either factor or set t squared equal to 16 and solve. If you factor, it's 2 minus 4, 2 plus 4 equals 0, so either t equals 4 or t equals negative 4. If you do it with the t squared equals 16 here, you would take the square root, you would still get plus or minus 4. Those are the restricted values since they would make the denominator equal to 0. Objective 2, simplify expressions. Y squared minus 64 divided by y squared minus 7y minus 8. Make sure you factor the numerator and the denominator and state the restricted values of the variable. The numerator is going to be the difference of perfect squares, so it's 8 plus y and 8 minus y. And in the denominator, you need to decide the factors of 8 that are going to add to negative 7. So it's going to be y minus 8 times y plus 1. Then you cancel out the common factors, so you get y plus 8 divided by y plus 1, but you cannot let y equal, it should be positive 8 there and negative 1. I will fix that, but remember it's positive 8. 12 plus 4 to the square root of 3 divided by 8. Remember when simplifying to either divide all of the terms or factor the greatest common factor out in the numerator and then cancel. You can't divide just 12 by 4. You need to divide both 12 and 4 and 8. So if you factor the 4 out front, you get 4 times 3 plus the square root of 3 divided by 8. 4 goes into 8. And that should leave you a 2 there, not a 4. So it should be 3 plus the square root of 3 divided by 2. Objective 3, multiply and divide rational expressions. Remember to factor both numerator and denominator if you can, and simplify by using the rules for exponents. Remember those rules are if you're multiplying like bases, you add your exponents, and if you're dividing like bases, you subtract your exponents. So in the denominator, I factored the 3 out to get 8x minus 3y so that I could cancel out the 8x minus 3y's, and then here I subtracted 1 from 3 to keep my exponent positive, and here I took 8 minus 4 to keep that exponent positive, and then we simplified the 6 divided by 3 to the 2, so you get 2y to the 4th over x squared. Here we're going to be dividing, but remember with division you just switch the numerator and the denominator and change it to multiplication so that you get m to the 11th n squared times 9m squared plus 6mn minus 15n squared over m minus n plus m plus n, and that's the difference of perfect squares here that I factored. Then you have 18m to the 9th n to the 5th. And then factored the numerator here into 3m minus 3n and 3m plus 5n times n squared over m minus n, m plus n, and then 18n to the 3rd. So besides the factoring here, I also took 11 minus 9 to get the m squared, and then I took the 2 away from the 5, so that way I get the n to the 3rd. Here I factored out a 3, and then that allowed me to cancel out the m minus n and the m minus n here, and then the 3 factored into the 18 and left me the 6 here. So that's how you get the 3m plus 5n times m squared over m plus n times 6n to the third. Objective 4, add and subtract rational expressions. You have negative 2 over 3m to the third n minus 5 over m squared n to the fourth. Remember, your common denominator needs to be the least common multiple, and the variables need to be to the highest power. So the common denominator is 3m to the third n to the fourth. Then you get negative 2n to the third minus 15m over 3m to the third n to the fourth. This one has to be multiplied by n to the third, so you also have to multiply the numerator by that. This one needs to be multiplied by the 3 and an m, and that's how you get the 15m. Here we have t squared, t plus 2, and t, and your common denominator is t squared times t plus 2, since this is the highest power. That means the 5 has to be multiplied by t plus 2, the 4 has to be multiplied by the t squared, and the negative 3 has to be multiplied by a t and a t plus 2. That's what's shown over here. Then you're going to actually have to distribute that out so that you get 5t plus 10 plus 4t squared minus 3t squared minus 6t. Remember, your minus sign has to go through with everything. All over t squared, t plus 2, and then you're going to set that equal to t squared minus t plus 10 over t squared plus or times 2 plus t. Objective 6, rationalize the denominator of a radical. 7 divided by the fourth root of z. Remember, you need to multiply by the fourth root of z to a power of z so that you will end up with just a plain z in the denominator. In order to do that, you have to multiply by this fourth root of z to the third. Then you will get the fourth root of z to the fourth, which comes out as z. And what you multiply the denominator by, you have to multiply the numerator by, and that's how you get 7 times the fourth root of z cubed over z. Square root of 50 divided by the square root of x minus 2. Here you just need to multiply by the square root of x minus 2 so that you will get the square root of x minus 2 squared. And then the square root and the square will cancel each other out. So you get 50, the square root of 50 times x minus 2 divided by x minus 2. And then if you multiply the 50 in, you have the square root of 50x minus 100 divided by x minus 2. But both 25 and 100 have a factor of, or both 50 and 100 have a factor of 25. And since that's a perfect square, you can pull that out, so you get 5 times the square root of 2x minus 4 divided by x minus 2. Now you have 12 divided by the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2. Here you need to multiply by the conjugate to get the square roots to cancel out, and that conjugate is the square root of 6 plus the square root of 2. Remember the conjugate, you just switch this sign. Do that multiplication to both the numerator and the denominator. Then distribute the 12 in so that you have 12 times the square root of 6 plus 12 times the square root of 2. Remember, here the conjugate gets rid of the middle terms, so you really only have to multiply the square root of 6 times the square root of 6 and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. That gives me the square root of 36. To fix a mistake, the square root of 36 factors out as 6 here, and the square root of 4 is 2, so 6 minus 2 gives you 4. 12 and 12 are both divisible by 4, so it simplifies down to 3 times the square root of 6 plus 3 times the square root of 2. The next objective is just still simplifying the rational expression. So you have c squared plus 13c plus 18 divided by c squared minus 9 plus c plus 1 over c plus 3 minus c plus 8 over c minus 3. First, think about what the common denominator is going to be. C squared minus 9 factors out to c plus 3 times c minus 3, so c squared minus 9 is your common denominator. That means I don't need to multiply this by anything, it's already there. This needs to get multiplied by the c minus 3, which is here, and this one needs to get multiplied by c plus 3, which is there. Then you just need to FOIL these out so that you get c squared minus 2c minus 3. FOIL these out and then distribute the negative sign through, which is how you get negative c squared minus 11c minus 24 all over c squared minus 9. Then you need to simplify, and when you do, it gets to be down to c squared minus 9 over c squared minus 9, which is 1. I hope you have found the slideshow helpful. If you have more questions, please let me know. Thank you.